Welcome to the Limitless Retirement Podcast. My name is Danny Gudorf, the owner of Gudorf Financial Group. Whether retirement is on your horizon or you've already made the leap, this podcast tackles your most important questions in retirement. Discussions in this show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and Gudorf Financial Group are not affiliated. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Gudorf Financial Group, LLC, and Cambridge are not affiliated. Reviews on this site may or may not be by clients of the firm. No compensation is being provided for sharing of opinions and experiences on this site. The reviewer's comments may not be representative of any other person's experience and is no guarantee of future performance or success. Investing involves risk. Depending on the different types of investments, there may be varying degrees of risk. Clients and prospective clients should be prepared to bear investment loss, including loss of original principal. Cambridge does not provide tax advice. So let's go ahead and get started with today's show. Can I really trust my retirement plan? It's the question that separates confident retirees from anxious ones. And the answer isn't what you think. Most people believe trust means their plan will unfold exactly as projected, but that's actually the most dangerous mindset you can have. The real question isn't whether you can trust your plan to be perfect. It's whether you can trust it to keep you safe when it's wrong. I'm Danny Gudorf, founder of Gudorf Financial Group, and we specialize in helping people over 50 create retirement plans they can actually trust. What I'm about to share with you might surprise you because it goes against what most people think a retirement plan should be. The biggest mistake people make is expecting their plan to be perfect, to predict the future, or to guarantee specific outcomes. But here's what smart retirees understand. A good retirement plan isn't about perfection. It's about being prepared for when things don't go according to plan. Let me start by clearing up what your retirement plan is not responsible for. Your plan cannot predict the market. I get a chuckle every time a client jokingly asks, "So what do you think the market's going to do next?" They know better, but somewhere deep inside, they want certainty. Your advisor isn't a fortune teller, and they're not supposed to be. Your plan also can't predict exactly how much you'll spend on healthcare, whether inflation will spike like it did in 2021 and 2022, or if you'll decide to buy that vacation home in 5 years. What your plan can do is something far more valuable. It can make you resilient when uncertainty shows up. Think about it this way. You wouldn't expect your car insurance to prevent accidents, but you'd expect it to protect you when one happens. Your retirement plan works the same way. It's not designed to eliminate uncertainty. It's designed to help you navigate through it successfully. The real value comes from having a framework that adapts when life throws you curveballs. And trust me, it will throw you curveballs. Here's where most people get tripped up with their retirement planning assumptions. They worry about things like market returns, inflation rates, and life expectancy projections. These are important, but they're just starting points, not guarantees. I've seen clients stress about whether we're using a 6% return assumption versus 6.5%, when the real question should be, what happens if we only get 4% for the first 10 years of retirement? A good plan doesn't depend on hitting exact numbers. It depends on having strategies to adjust when the numbers don't cooperate. Let me give you an example client. I'll call them Mike and Julie, who plan to work until 65, spending $90,000 a year with a 6% average return assumption and 2.5% inflation. 3 years into retirement, Julie got offered an early retirement package at 62, and she wanted to take it. At the same time, inflation had spiked to 4%, and the market had dropped 20% the year before. Did we throw out their entire plan? Absolutely not. We adjusted. We ran new projections with Julie retiring earlier, reallocated their spending priorities, and accounted for the higher inflation temporarily. Because we had guardrails built into their plan, there was flexibility for her to say yes to that buyout without panic. This brings me to one of the most important concepts in retirement planning that most people don't understand: the difference between planning and predicting. Planning is about creating a framework that can adapt to different scenarios. Predicting is about trying to guess what will happen, which is impossible. When you understand this difference, you stop worrying about whether your advisor got it right and start focusing on whether you have the tools to adjust when needed. The research backs this up. Vanguard's Advisor Alpha study shows that advisors add about 3% in net value per year. And it's not because they pick better investments. It's because of behavioral coaching, tax efficiency, and spending strategy guidance. Morningstar found that people working with advisors report significantly higher confidence and satisfaction with their financial decisions. The CFP board studies show that households working with financial planners are more likely to stick to long-term plans and avoid reactionary behavior during market events. But here's what really matters. Your plan needs to account for the fact that you're going to change your mind about things. Maybe you'll want to travel more than you thought. Maybe healthcare costs will be higher or lower than projected. Maybe you'll inherit money from a relative, or maybe you'll want to help your kids buy their first home. A rigid plan that can't accommodate these changes isn't worth the paper it's printed on. This is why I'm such a big advocate for what we call dynamic withdrawal strategies rather than static rules like the 4% rule. The 4% rule assumes you'll never need to adjust, never want to spend more when times are good, and never need to pull back when times are tough. That's not how real life works. Smart retirees use strategies like our guardrails approach, which tells you when it's okay to spend more and when you might need to make modest adjustments to stay on track. Let me show you how this works in practice. Instead of saying you can spend exactly $80,000 every year, a guardrails approach might say you can spend $80,000 this year. But if your portfolio grows to $1.2 million, you can increase that to $85,000. However, if it drops to $900,000, we'd recommend pulling back to $75,000 temporarily. This gives you both confidence and flexibility, which is what retirement should be about. The key insight here is that having a plan doesn't make uncertainty go away, but it makes you stronger when uncertainty shows up. Your plan isn't perfect, and it's not supposed to be. What it should be is adaptable, monitored regularly, and designed to help you make good decisions when circumstances change. The biggest mistakes in retirement aren't usually about market crashes or inflation spikes. They're about making emotional decisions without a framework to guide you. This is why we tell all our clients that retirement planning isn't a set it and forget it process. We need to check in at least once a year, and sometimes more often when major changes happen. We review your spending patterns, update our assumptions based on what's actually happening in your life and the economy, and make adjustments to keep you on track toward your goals. One thing that really helps our clients feel more confident about their plans is understanding what we call the 4 levels of retirement wealth. Most people fall into what we call the stability stage. They have enough to maintain a comfortable standard of living without economic stress. They can drive a reliable car, live in a nice home, take vacations, and handle unexpected expenses without depleting their savings. The key identifier for this stage is that 4% of their total retirement savings, combined with other stable income like Social Security, meets their first year lifestyle needs. But here's something most people don't realize. Even if you're in the stability stage, you might be able to optimize your plan to move toward what we call the abundance stage, where your wealth continues growing throughout retirement. This often happens through better tax planning, more efficient withdrawal strategies, or simply spending less than you planned because you're enjoying a simpler lifestyle. The tax planning piece is huge and often overlooked. Once you turn 59 and a half, you have opportunities that weren't available before. You can do in-service distributions from your 401k for Roth conversions. You can pay conversion taxes from your retirement accounts without the 10% penalty. And you have more flexibility to create tax-efficient income streams. We had a client, I'll call her Cindy, who was single with a large 401k and wanted to maximize her inheritance for her son. By starting strategic Roth conversions at 59 and a half and paying the taxes from her 401k, we estimated her family would save almost $500,000 in taxes over her lifetime. The bottom line is this: you can trust your plan, but not in the way most people think. You can't trust it to be perfect or to predict the future, but you can trust it to give you a framework for making good decisions, to help you avoid the big mistakes that derail retirements, and to adapt when life doesn't go according to script. The confidence comes not from having all the answers, but from having a process to find the right answers as situations change. Your retirement plan should be like a GPS system. When you're driving somewhere new, the GPS doesn't guarantee you won't hit traffic or construction, but it gives you the best route based on current information. And when conditions change, it recalculates and gives you a new route. That's exactly what a good retirement plan does for your financial life. So if you've been lying awake wondering whether you can trust your retirement plan, here's my advice. Stop worrying about whether it's perfect and start asking whether it's adaptable. Does it account for different scenarios? Does it give you flexibility to adjust when needed? Do you have someone to help you interpret what's happening and make course corrections? If the answer is yes, then you can trust your plan to do what it's supposed to do. Not predict the future, but help you navigate it successfully. Now, you've learned why your retirement plan doesn't need to be perfect to be trustworthy, but there's one critical piece we haven't covered yet. Before you can fully trust any plan, you need to know if you're even on track to retire in the first place. Most people are flying blind, using outdated rules of thumb that don't account for their unique situation. Click, how much do I need to retire? 5 numbers to help you decide. To discover the specific calculations that will tell you exactly where you stand and what adjustments you might need to make. Don't miss the 3rd number. It's the one most people get completely wrong, and it could be costing you years of extra work. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Limitless Retirement Podcast. If you want to see how Gudorf Financial Group can help you get the most out of your money, go to gudorffinancial.com/get started. This is where you can schedule a 20-minute call to see how our firm can help prepare a free retirement assessment. Please remember, nothing we discuss on this podcast is intended to serve as advice. You should always consult a financial, legal, or tax professional that is familiar with your unique circumstances before making any financial decisions. Discussions in this show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and Gudorf Financial Group are not affiliated. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Gudorf Financial Group, LLC, and Cambridge are not affiliated. Reviews on this site may or may not be by clients of the firm. No compensation is being provided for sharing of opinions and experiences on this site. The reviewer's comments may not be representative of any other person's experience and is no guarantee of future performance or success. Investing involves risk. Depending on the different types of investments, there may be varying degrees of risk. Clients and prospective clients should be prepared to bear investment loss, including loss of original principal. Cambridge does not provide tax advice.